Let's dive into the world of tabletop gaming and painting with the Tippy cast. From rolling dice to mastering brushstrokes, we're here to fuel your passion. Join us for insights, inspiration, and endless creativity. I'm Chris.
And I'm Daz. So, Chris, what's on the table?
Well, I've been keeping to my resolution for painting Rumble Slam stuff, and I finally finished off the executive branch. Really happy with how the Great Fairy came out, because I used some colour shifting paints on the wings and kind of did the bordering on it in a really light purple, like a lilac, and yeah, I think that turned out really nice. Goes well with the green gear she's wearing, and like a peach coloured smoke. Kind of kept it quite in keeping with the box art for her. But yeah, really happy with them. The other models in the set, there wasn't anything really crazy that I did with them. Kind of she's the big focus of that one. But I've moved on to doing some more superstars. Currently have Randy and the naturalist.
Naturalist, I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, so he's definitely not the naturist because he's wearing clothes.
Mm.
It's that one that she's a pieces of D8. It's the thing that goes on the front of the boat. The woman.
Oh, yes. Is she called, like, Lady Luck or something like that? Or
That's it.
yeah. The
I've got her. I've
figurehead.
got her over
Yeah.
there. Figurehead. That's the word I was thinking of. I was trying to think of. Um, I've got a couple other ones sitting on the table that I haven't started yet, because like the colours uh, haven't really came up on them yet. So as I start doing some different shades of blue and things like that, I'll start doing that recent lizard superstar. Is it Korut?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So yeah, and Warmonger as well. But I'll need to be using reds and blacks for him. So
Nice.
I'll get to them eventually. How about you?
Also, keeping in line with my resolutions, I finished the Brawl Marillion. Got them done in a very good time. I had a bit of time off
You showed
last
us the
week.
photos of them and got through them quite well.
Yeah, I had a bit of time off work last week, so I managed to get through a lot of that. I also got that Dios Dorado. He's done. El Pollo Excelente is also done. Do you know,
You did a really good job on him.
yeah, do you know what? I really enjoyed painting him because obviously it's a skin tone that I don't really get to do very often.
Mm.
For anyone who doesn't know El Pollo Excelente, he is a large rooster. Um, very bright colour. He's got like a very bright blue plumage, and he's got like obviously the red. He's got like a red sort of neck feathers as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I did a nice blue on him, and then just did like a white, like a really light blue, almost like grey blue dry brush, just like on the tips of the wings to really bring the feathers of the wings out. And yeah, I just really enjoyed painting him. It was nice. It was nice doing a different sort of skin tone. Really broke everything up, and I've done it so he doesn't look like very cartoony, but he does look still very
Vibrant.
But at the moment, I've just assembled my Bleeding Heart Foundation from Rumble Slam, the King and Queen of Hearts, and the Plague, who is the Rhea Ripley superstar from the Ospiedale appointment. And I also have assembled the Fallout Wasteland Warfare miniature, the Mysterious Stranger. So I've got that all assembled, ready to go. I'm just waiting so they're all assembled. I'm just waiting on some green stuff to be delivered because I showed Chris a concept that I was thinking to make the man bat in the Bleeding Heart Foundation look a lot more like Bret Hart. So I'm going to sort of green stuff some sort of sunglasses on him because I think that's going to look real nice.
Yeah, that'll look cool.
But other than that, so yeah, trying to keep up with the resolutions. So far, so good. I mean, me and Chris ourselves, we played a nice bit of D&D the other night. And yeah, I'm getting things painted in a timely fashion, and yeah, getting a lot of paint to getting a lot of the paint to brush to figure.
Nice. But yeah, like I say, we had that game of D&D. Really enjoyed that. Had your youngin
Yeah.
and the two from the Christmas one shot we had. I had a game of Relic with my brother on Thursday night,
Nice.
which was really cool. Have you seen Relic before?
Oh, and I thought you were talking about relics from TT Combat. No, I've never.
No.
No. What's relic then?
Relic, it's like Talisman. It's like built on the same
Oh,
system as
okay, yeah,
Talisman, but it's a 40k skin,
got it.
and it was really fun. We ended up not really finishing the game because it got very late and I had work early the next morning. So I was very tired on Friday and then went and played bingo. I was very, very tired then as well. But yeah, you just kind of like you're rolling your dice, you're moving that many spaces, but you can go in like any way around. You're not like with Monopoly how you loop to that one direction. With this, you can back and forwards if you want, if where you land's a bit better for you. Really enjoyed it. I was playing as a mechanicus who's got like an ability, so weapons and armor and things they don't class as like assets for you to carry
Oh, okay.
because you can only like have so many assets. And I thought that was really good. I ended up with like a lot of cool guns I can use in different situations.
That's cool.
But no, I'll definitely play that again.
I'll have to look that up.
So I think it's possibly out of print now. So
Ah,
if you see it anywhere at a good price, snap it up. And I've actually not done a lot of painting since last episode, but I've been kind of reading through more rule books, so it's still like game adjacent.
I mean, you
I'm
did say
looking
that you
forward
wanted more
to
time away from painting, so
yeah. So yeah, I've been going through the Walking Dead RPG rule book.
nice.
Hoping to get a character rolled up for that and do a solo campaign, and going through the Bramble Trek rulebook again because I've only played it a couple of times, so I wanted to have a refresher on that. But the physical stuff should be getting shipped out fairly soon. There was an update email, so like there's just some like safety checks on like some of the like the backer rewards.
Nice.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll have the physical copy. I prefer to have the physical copy than go through the PDF. So I'm really looking forward to that.
No, I did have a look at that when you last mentioned Bramble Trek, and it does seem quite like something I would like as well. So yeah, hopefully when it goes into like proper production, that I can probably get a hold of it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it is just a really like just relaxing journaling game.
Which I like,
Just done with the decks of cards, so
which is nice.
yeah,
Because sometimes it's not all about slaying dragons and in high stakes situations. Sometimes you just want to have a nice.
Sometimes you just want to be a mouse and have a fight with a bird.
Exactly.
I still love one of the characters I did where it's like essentially the bard class, and yeah, one of my encounters was like a band of bandits, which I was like, well, since my guy's musically inclined, what if there's this band of bandits were an actual band and they
Yeah.
had a battle of the bands? Because it's things like that. Because it's just it gives you the prompt, and then like at the end of the day for your character, you basically write your journal for it. So you take all of those prompts and you create a story from that. And I just thought that fits really well with like the idea of this character.
Mm.
And in the end, they got into a big fight when they ended up going into like the underground, and yeah, he just went home. So yeah, that's enough of an adventure for me.
It's kind of like Forrest Gump, and he goes, "I'm pretty tired."
Well, after the kicking he got off of this underground bird, he definitely decided, yeah, that's enough for me. I'm gonna go home now.
Why not? Yeah, it's all. It is all fun, but it's good. It's good that you're getting more game time in. It's good that you're getting to actually play some games rather than just painting stuff for
Yeah.
it. So it's always good to hear. So, yeah.
And I think the main meat of this episode is kind of spurred on from our little dabblances with D&D online,
Yeah.
and it's like the pros and cons of digital gaming,
Mm.
like distance play.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It was only only kind of got brought up the other day because there's plenty of games out there that are sort of not so much fitted out. Like no game is truly fitted out for distance play because obviously
Mm-hmm.
gaming's a very, most of the time it's a very social affair.
Yeah.
And a lot of these games, I mean, D&D players, like games could go on for a few hours at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Big table war games, you could be playing all day, and it's a very social thing. So, but obviously, in certain circumstances, like for example, myself and Chris lives up in the north, and I live down in the south. So it's very unlikely that me and him sort of ever get to do much physical gaming together.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there are, with the invention of the internet and digital formats of certain games. I mean, D&D Beyond is a great one to start with, and then obviously you've got Roll20, which is obviously more fitted out to lots of other games.
Yeah, it's different rule sets you can basically plug into your game sessions, and it tailors all your bits around that.
So, as a pros and cons from it, obviously I think on a pro of that, yes, it makes. I'd say scheduling for certain games, like D&D is a prime example of this. It makes
Mm-hmm.
scheduling those games a lot easier because you're not
Yeah.
restricted by geography, and travel. Really, you're not restricted by those things. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. And yeah, I think that's a really good.
Scheduling has killed more parties than any dragon will ever do.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it took us, well, to finally nail down a day for us to sort of all get together. It made life a lot easier that we were able to sort of do it online.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we chatted. So I mean, just as a good example, when we played the other night and on Christmas Eve. So we tend to use, and much like the way me and Chris record, is we will have like a conversation or a call up on Microsoft Teams, not a sponsor. And we will then so on Christmas Eve, we use more like an honesty policy with dice rolls
Mm-hmm.
because obviously D&D is not so much about winning, it's about creating a story.
Yeah.
And then we
And your
used,
best moments come from bad rolls.
Oh, 100% agree with that statement. That's when the real fun happens, and then you've got to explain. A good example of this, Wednesday gone, we were playing, and my character is an absurdly strong halfling for some reason. Decided to drop kick a door and failed. And we all had a very good laugh about that.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
And the best bit was the door wasn't locked.
Nope, the door wasn't locked. But you know, monks think with their fists.
Monk's gonna monk.
Monk's got a monk, mate. But yeah, it was, and then we used D&D Beyond on that particular occasion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
It's the
that's
first time I've used D&D Beyond, and it's quite well integrated into everything, isn't it?
yeah, and it's really good as well because if you've got like +1, +2s, it will add it up automatically for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
You set
just
advantage and disadvantage, and it'll sort the dice for you.
and it's really nice, and obviously it can show like the initiative on top of the screen, and it is
Mm-hmm.
obviously really well fitted out for distance play. It's also just good as well because it makes life a lot easier for my daughter who plays, because I prefer to use like pencil paper, although
Definitely.
I'm very clever. I like to put it in. I put my character sheets in those polythene sleeves that you put in like folders,
Mm-hmm.
so I can write in like a thin dry white pen, and then like when it comes to like when you got to readjust your HP and like level up and stuff, I can just wipe it out, start again.
Yeah.
Little hack there for everybody. But she finds that a lot easier, so she doesn't have to like add all the dice rolls up or have a lot of stuff written down, and so she can just sort of when she like even with character creation, it's like bum 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 bum. This is what I want. I want to be a bard. I want to do this. I want to do this, and I want to do this, and then it will help you fit out that way. And it's just really well laid out. It's not overly complicated.
It's a foolproof way for doing your character creation as well. Just everything you put on for your race and your class, it'll just it creates a section on your character sheet for that. And so like for my character, I went with a human variant. So instead of I think what is it? Instead of every ability getting a +1, you choose something to get a +2, and you take a feat. I think that's how human variant works. I might be getting it confused, but yeah. And then it sorted that. I went with it was like another spell one because I went with wizard, but there's some spells that I don't get. I think I did it allows me to take some spells from druid, and I ended up like taking a bunch of them, and they've got to be rituals. But rather than having to go through every spell in the list trying to find which one has the ritual tag, it just has them all there.
Yeah,
and
it lets you
select which ones you want,
and it's a lot easier. It really streamlines the whole process. Whereas if you were, with a book, you're looking through the books. Obviously, people who have experience of D&D Beyond and people who, if you want to use it on D&D Beyond, you have to have it on D&D Beyond to use it. But if you have someone that you're in a party with and you share all the books, you can still read through all the books, and but it won't let you use other books. It's weird, but they've got to make their money somewhere. Otherwise, it's just a really helpful tool for distance play. Obviously, a massive con to that, to level this out, is that fact that if you have the free account, you can only make a max of 6 characters, which, to be fair, if you play D&D, I would say semi-regularly, 6 characters is really all you need.
I don't think I've even played as 6 characters.
Exactly. So, but it gives you access to the normal rules, the free rules, the legacy rules, and it's sort of very basic about what's there if you don't want to put any money into it, which is fine, because you can still play on D&D Beyond, still using paper, and then it's very viable either way. But obviously, the con of that is if you don't have a device that can use D&D Beyond, or you've got an unstable connection, it can start making it a bit more difficult. So you are kind of at the mercy of technology at that point.
Yeah.
But
well, another con relating to technology is the problems we had with Teams.
Yes.
Where all of a sudden it just seemed to cut out. So we ended up having to do like a group call on WhatsApp. So we managed to work around it. It's just
inconvenient. Ruin the flow a bit.
Yeah. In the middle of saying something, and then all of a sudden we're all dropped. It's just like, crucial bit of information we're being given, and then you all of a sudden silence.
So yeah, that was a massive. But that's kind of why. And I will say this as well, like a good, even if you're like a great DM, and like obviously you're telling the story, and even when you're doing the character voices, I still feel online, distance plays more specific. Like in this instance, we're just specifically talking about like TTRPGs. I feel you don't get the same level of ambience and integration, because obviously if it's all like on a voice call, because a lot of people, including myself, I mean, me and Chris are talking now on a webcam, and he sees the fact that I talk with my hands a lot.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to describe, like, what you're doing, how you're doing it, blah, 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 it's, if anything, you've got to be able to describe it as best you can without anyone being able to see you. So I do feel it kind of loses that. It kind of loses. You don't feel as connected to it because, or connected to the group you're playing with, because you're all you're all far apart from each other. You're not, all you can see potentially is maybe like a head, or it just be voice. And I do feel that's where a lot of distance play kind of falters, especially from a TTRPG point of view.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's like my my local game that I play. Once the venue gets the heating sorted, playing that in person, like my character, he's a monk, much like your one in this campaign, and it's like he's an entertainer monk because he's essentially a professional wrestler. So a lot of the things that I'll like say in character, I also add like flourishes and a bit of like flamboyant gestures, just to go along with the idea of like he's on stage, he's always on, and yeah, a character like that I don't think would really work in on a digital play setting.
It's a shame because your current character that you use in the campaign with me and my group, he is like an artist as well, and you said that he creates these sigils
Mhm.
sigils in the air with his paintbrush, and it would be awesome to sort of see what because I imagine you yourself would be very much be like a. Again, you guys can't see this, but I'm going to do this for Chris's benefit. Sort of being like, oh yeah, I'm going to paint this
Mhm.
in the sky, and
Well, I mean, I was even doing that while we were playing, like when as I was using the like ray of frost or whatever it was,
yeah,
and he's like sketching it out in the air, and then he sends it forward. Like I
mm.
was doing those actions, but yous weren't able to see it because we didn't have camera on.
I mean, when I'm doing my kung fu with my monk again, like my daughter will be testament to this. I'm still doing the sort of like moves just to sort of so my brain
Doing
works
the
better.
kata.
Yeah, but it's obviously it's still very fun and it's still nice to sort of play games, roll some dice. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's still always going to be a social affair, and um, but that's more like that. But I mean, obviously, me and Chris ourselves, we played Half Tilt. We did a Let's Play Half Tilt together. Um, that kind of worked. I felt it worked
Mhm.
on a distance point of view because luckily both me and Chris had the cards. We both have minis of it. Obviously, Chris was using Chris's minis, um, and the dice
I'm
rolls.
gonna have to get the goat guys painted up soon.
Oh, I've done it.
So
I'd already got. Oh,
next
you have to, yeah.
next time we next time we play, if you want to use them, I'll have a painted set as well.
Nice. But it did work because obviously it's very gridded and it was just
Hmm.
you go that way, you go that way. There wasn't a lot of dimension to the
Yeah,
game.
there's not like it. There's not like the nuance of positioning and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, I mean,
if we want to play like bolt action or something like that,
oh, we wouldn't be able to do
where
that.
yeah, you need like exact positioning,
Mm.
correct lines of sight and stuff. It wouldn't really work that.
I mean, even Rumble Slam would struggle with that because again, it's got that second
Hmm.
dimension.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, you just kind of. I think with that, you would just do like a grid reference, like if you were like playing chess or something,
yeah,
or like Battleship, you would just grid reference it.
Ogre to G4,
Yeah.
but
So like Rumble Slam's doable because again it's a gridded
mm,
thing. It's not like a line of sight
no,
range
exactly.
base kind of thing. So it's that's doable. Something like The Walking Dead, All Out War. Not so much because that isn't a grid based one. It's again, it's like full positioning.
Mm. But I mean, we do live in an age now, obviously, with technology. There's plenty of like tabletop simulators out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty confident there's a Rumble Slam one. I'm 90% sure there is.
There is on the tabletop simulator on Steam. They've been adding like character cards and stuff like that to it.
Nice.
I'm not sure how up to date they are on them, but there's been a push to get them added in.
I mean, obviously, you've got the Blood Bowl games. They had two games on the consoles and the PC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was fun. And obviously, it's still very much Blood Bowl, just in a very digital, more animated thing. Which I suppose does sort of link into what we're sort of talking about with the online gaming. You would be able to play a game of Blood Bowl
Yeah.
with your mate online in a not so much with your minis, which again that's another con of distance gaming is you can't really admire minis on
Mm-hmm.
a camera. Like you could take a picture the best you can, but sometimes when you actually have the mini in your hand and you sort of see it on the table with everything else, it does. I find that sometimes when you're looking at a mini on a picture, you think, "Oh, that's really good," and then
Hmm.
you hold it, and then like people notice all the little nuances that they might not have been able to capture
Yeah.
on a camera.
Well, something like the color shift paints,
Mm,
like on a camera, you don't get the same effect
mm.
as you do when it's in person. You get those like subtle shifts, and again, it's like in person gaming is just superior.
Oh, like
Digital has the little shortcut stuff where it makes like your paperwork and like uh, like the number keeping and stuff makes that a bit easier, but like the proper tactile hobby side of it, I mean, in person will always come out on top there.
oh yeah, like don't get me wrong, we're not, neither of us are here to sort of say, oh,
See, don't buy any models, just go digital.
because again, it is it is a very physical hobby in the sense that I have minis, I would like to paint them, and I would like to
Hmm.
fight other people's painted minis. Um, it's never going to get overtaken by the digital sense
Hmm.
of gaming. But obviously, it does online. The internet has its uses. You know, if anything, the internet has brought a lot of people closer together. Um,
Hmm.
for example, if it wasn't for the joys of the internet, you people out there wouldn't be hearing the sweet, dulcet tones of me and Chris. Um, me and Chris would have we would have never become friends. We would have, never have known each other because the likelihood of me ever finding myself up north, up in Anak,
Yeah.
is just going to be very, very low. If
Or me in France or whatever part of the south you're in.
I mean,
It's all France.
it's all friends, but because obviously in the future, myself and Chris, we're going to be hopefully doing a collaboration podcast with the monsters behind the mask, Renz and Dario, and again through the joys of the internet, we're able to do that.
Yeah,
Um, but
we're in completely different countries.
yeah,
Never mind different counties.
yeah, but it's we just said that a pro again another say as you just quite nicely said there. It's online gaming will, well, especially with like things like D&D Beyond, Roll20, and all the other sort of TTRPG game sort of sites there are. And I'm
Hmm.
really sorry I can't think of any more outside of Beyond D&D or D&D Beyond and Roll20, and none more coming off the top of my head. Um,
Yeah.
Beyond, it does limit the amount of paperwork that you need because obviously, as we said, you can put all the information in and it works it all out for you, and it's just simple. The only thing,
Hmm.
and don't get me wrong, I like the fact that both those sites, when you roll a dice, it has the little animation of the dice rolling across the screen, and that is nice. It still doesn't beat having dice in your hand and rolling a
Hmm.
dice. It's just not the same.
Yeah. And like when you're doing digital dice, it never truly feels random because
Mm,
there's always that little bit of coding in the background that's doing something. Like
is it?
it
Isn't it?
might say it's completely random. It might try to not give you a one all the time. Whereas if you're rolling like an actual dice and you might roll one a couple of times off the bat, yeah, it's not likely, but it happens.
Mm,
And I mean, a digital one, like I say, could be coded to make it not as frequent,
mm.
and it is just the. It might not be, but there's always that thought in the background.
Yeah, especially if you are rolling poorly. There's probably like a part of you that just gone, nah, this they doesn't want me. They don't
Yeah,
want me to do well. Maybe especially on D&D Beyond because they might think that you need to buy more characters or buy new dice to roll. They'll get you
yeah.
somehow.
Get a new dice skin.
because
Guaranteed crits.
because
Weighted virtual dice.
I've got because I got a lovely set of I got a lovely D20. I got one of those liquid core ones,
Mm,
and it's got a dragon eye in it. And it's really cool. But I can't use
yeah,
that on D&D Beyond. It's like,
yeah.
but it's
I,
we're not
I think the jazziest dice I've got. There's the ones I got with Old Gods of Appalachia,
nice.
which they're just like this really nice kind of like glitter in
Mm.
resin, and just when when you look at them in person, they just look really nice, like a really good quality to them. And there's the bullet dice.
Oh yeah, the bullet dice. Yeah,
They're my jazziest ones. The rest of them, it's just regular polys, nothing nothing crazy about them.
and the Tippy Club official D6s.
Oh, there's there, but like, for being like for
Yeah,
strictly tabletop game and stuff where you need your full set of polys, uh, the official Tippy Club dice are very very good, if I do say so myself.
and that's another thing as well. It's when you've again the tactileness and the physicality of having things. You get to feel like a proper dice goblin because then you can just clack all your dice in your bag. You can't do that
Yeah,
online.
it's that satisfying
Oh,
tactile like feel of rolling dice. That's why you play games.
oh, definitely. And it's obviously we're not hit. We were never. This was just more of a discussion on pros and cons of distance gaming. And don't
Mhm.
get me wrong, it's great. Like it's a good
Yeah.
if you're wanting to sort of like get a game in or
Well,
you know,
there's the Necromunda Underhive Wars game that came out a few years ago. Uh, by no means is that a perfect game, and there's like decisions that they've made in it, like weapon decisions, where
mm,
like like the heavy stubber is the best heavy weapon to have in the game, and it's like no, that's it's the cheapest one, and it's the one that everyone will use
yeah.
because it's the cheapest one, but it does not stand up next to an autocannon or a heavy bolter. So there's weird decisions that they've took in that. But
There's a reason
when
Space
me
Marines
and
don't use heavy stubbers.
yeah, there's a reason the Imperial Guard use it, and that's it. It's cheap and easy to make. Um, like my mates that I used to play the Necromunda with when I lived in Leeds, we all picked it up. We jumped on, had a 3-way game, and like I say, it's not a perfect game. It has its issues, very buggy, especially when it first came out. But we got to play a Necromunda game,
Mm.
which was great. It's just it wasn't playing Necromunda on the table. Like we missed that. Like there's a great time where my mates Chaos Cult. One of the members got possessed by a warp demon, and it boosted all of his stats, but he was out of control, and he was wiping out the rest of the cult, and there was nothing he could do about it because it was just like it essentially gives it a new AI that that you've got to follow on the table. And my gang was sat at the across the other side of the table, just taking pot shots at them out, and feeling really bad because they were just getting a hail of bullets sent at them, and then this massive warp demon was just tearing the to shreds from the back.
And
And it's a
that's another thing. It's harder to put your own homebrew spin on things
mhm.
if you're having to be in more of a I don't want to say controlled setting, but in a
Yeah,
more
it's a strict
mm,
rule base for a computer game, whereas even the crunchy rules of tabletop Necromunda, like using the community, the Yakromunda Community Edition rules, um, like there's a bit more leeway. There's more. like rules as intended rather than rules as written
Mm.
that you get to apply to it.
More of a
Whereas
guideline.
if you're playing on a yeah, yeah, like that doesn't really make sense. We'll bend the
Yeah.
rules to fit with this. Whereas in a computer game, it's A to B. This is how this rule works.
And I think, really, to sort of summarise our sort of discussion on this, I think the best way to sort of explain it is it's almost like when you're thirsty and you have a glass of water, it will sate you, but it doesn't quite quench your thirst. Like, it's enough
Mm-hmm.
to get you by, but it's not like getting a full, like really quenching your thirst.
Yeah.
You know, like a gaming, like Diet Gaming or Gaming Max, tabletop RPG Zero. It's like it's got all the flavour of it, but just without any of the sugar. And the
Yeah.
main reason that you drink the beverage, again, there are other cola based beverages available, um,
And better ones.
and better ones. I'm more of a Sprite man. That's just I'm more of a Dr Pepper guy, to be fair. Actually, I'm one of those people, but not a sponsor yet.
I'm a Pepsi man.
But my point is, they're just kind of, it's good to wait to tide you over if you're kind of like itching to play a bit of a game, but fitting it in your schedule. But
Mm-hmm.
nothing, and I say this with all the confidence in the world, nothing will ever truly beat being somewhere with your mates, playing a game, maybe having a bit, maybe having some snacks, maybe a pizza, um, maybe a couple of beverages. Because I think it's more that social aspect of the game that we love, and that is what's missing primarily. And when you take that away from it, as much as you can be social, like me and Chris, like when we talk on the phone or when we're doing this, we can, obviously we can have a conversation, but still being in the physical presence of your friends and that having that social connection with everyone is never
Mm-hmm.
going to be replaced or beaten. And that's why we do what we do, you know. But there are, as I said, there's plenty of resources out there that will bring those people together, but it's never going to quite live up to the real thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add to that sentiment, Chris? Or
Um, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. Really, it's like you being around a table with your friends is a completely different experience than playing online. If playing online's the only way you can get a game in, it's a good second option,
oh, definitely.
but it's that that like making it feel like an event when you're sat at a table
Mm.
and chucking dice, like you say, get some food on, some drinks, and yeah, that's the true experience, I'd say. Without sounding all airy fairy about it, like that's the true experience of playing a good game.
That's the true magic of wargaming.
It is exactly.
The real treasure is
That's the
friendship.
magic.
The real treasure is
That's the
friendship.
real magic. The Gathering.
Not a sponsor.
But if they want to send me some Secret Lair stuff, they are more than welcome to.
And if Pembertons want to send me any Dr Pepper, I'm also very happy with that. Although they probably might have to file for bankruptcy if I just stop having to pay for it. I don't think they can financially recover from me not paying for it.
Definitely not.
So from the digital world back to the real one, we move on to new and shiny. Now, sadly, we are in that January slump. Not a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
We're in that New Year slump. We're in the January blues. There's a lot more game companies sort of that there's almost sort of just recovering from Christmas period. They're not really not doing it. I say not doing a lot. They are doing stuff, just not at the same intensity as it is generally before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So afraid new and shiny is going to be short and sweet, I imagine.
It's it's going to be shiny, but not as shiny as normal.
Not as shiny as it could be. Like a light shimmer, I guess. New and shimmer.
New and slightly tarnished. A slight patina.
A slight polish. Yeah, anything caught your eye so far, Chris?
There's a few bits like currently on Warhammer.com. The pre-orders for a bunch of Lord of the Rings stuff. Some cool like Rohan buildings, like houses, the Watchtower and Palisades.
Yeah, because
you can buy like a big bundle of it. The Rohan Stronghold. It's just under £200, but you get a couple of sets of the Watchtower and Palisades, 6 houses, and there's some other little.
Is that the tie-in for the War for the Rohirrim?
Yes. Yeah,
Awesome.
War for the Rohirrim.
Where was Gondor when the Westfold fell?
Would have a pint probably. There's the trolls, Tom, Bill, and Bert.
Nice.
They're available. Cave Troll, the Watcher in the Water, which looks very cool. That's like begging for someone to put into Carnivale.
I never got into the Lords of the Ring stuff that GW brought out. I mean, I remember I bought. Tell a lie. I think the only stuff that I've got is I got like the sort of first box set that came out when you had the elves and the orcs and the men. I think it was like the war of the first scene where they're having the war against Sauron in.
Yeah, is that the the 5 armies or something like that?
Oh no, it was the first box that they brought out where it just had like some elves, men from Gondor, and then some orcs and stuff. I bought that box set and never played it. I just the rules at the time seemed a bit janky, so I didn't really get into it. But beautiful models.
I think like a lot has changed from that. I don't even think it's like essentially the same game. But there's like the Middle Earth fantasy battle stuff, whatever they're calling it. That's supposed to be like one of the best games that GW does. It's like really highly regarded.
I mean, they're beautiful minis.
They've done like little offshoots from Lord of the Rings within it. But yeah, the mini's really nice.
I mean, to be fair,
GW's got a standard they've got to hit, and it's a licensed property from outside of their IPs. So there's a lot
riding on it.
A lot of riding on Rohan. Lord of the Rings jokes constant. What else? There's been the LV Open, Las Vegas Open.
Yep, I saw that.
We've had that. There's been a bunch of reveals for that. So there's a new Emperor's Children Codex. So like Slanesh stuff coming in that. Some cool Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines.
Nice.
If you're into Slanesh stuff, there's some cool bits in there.
I think if I was ever to get back into it, I'd end up going Khorne. I always had a soft spot for Khorne.
See, I thought you would be more of a Slanesh person. Got like the Noise Marines and stuff.
Yeah, no, I
Get
did.
that kind of
I do have one.
metal look going on.
I do have a Noise Marine somewhere. I gave him leopard print power armor on the bottom
Nice.
because I thought
I've got one. It's when they brought him back with the plastic.
nice.
He's got like leopard print, like armor on the legs, and then basically I just followed the box off for him. Yeah, I think he looks really cool. There's a Champions of Slanesh box coming out. So they've been doing big boxes like they did with the KDR Stands box. There was the Deathcore of Krieg box they did recently.
They also
they're doing the Champions of Slanesh one. Which ones?
The Deathcore of Krieg. They've it's only because like they use shovels as weapons, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I got the kill team with the Deathcore Krieg in it, and they are really nice models. And I think they're doing away with the Forge World Deathcore stuff, and they're doing like standard plastics for it. So you get like the guys on the horses and stuff making their way into plastics,
making their way downtown, walking fast.
Yes,
this is what we do.
Pass. There's some new Mechanicum stuff.
Never got into them.
The Thanatar Calyx, which looks like a big robot, which is pretty cool. But it's not Ed 209, so who cares? Necromunda, there's a new book, another one. Tribes of the Wastelands. Oh, I've lost count. Too many. It's too fractured. So Tribes of the Wastelands, there's some new like Outlander gangs. Well, it's pretty cool new models. There's things that just look like the Pokemon Weedle. These are like sandworm creatures. The weapon expansion sprues, where you get like different heads and some new weapons, and it's and there is a cool bit of terrain for the Outlands as well. They did these like stilted houses, like hard block things.
Okay.
That look pretty cool. There's like a new style of one of them where it's basically a watchtower, and there's like stub guns and it looks like grenade launchers and stuff like dotted around on it. I think that looks really cool.
Sorcerers of the Sands, Wizards of the Coast. The 2024 Monster Manual is scheduled for release on the February of 18th of Feb of this year. However, if you subscribe to D&D Beyond, not a sponsor, but I feel like we should contact them, who pre-ordered it or subscribed to D&D Beyond, you do get some early access options, which is nice. Because there's plenty of... I've had a quick peek through it, because I've managed to sort of... Because I'm on D&D Beyond, I did get to have a quick sort of scan through it. I think it lets out some teasers and that. And there's a lot more variants of, fan favourite monsters, a couple of new ones. And it also gives you more depth in it of how, from a dungeon master's perspective, of sort of like creating your own sort of variants, and which is nice, very nice. But yeah, actually saying that, I feel this could come into new and shiny. With myself and Chris, we've been talking at lengths for further content. It's very likely that yes, we will be doing some play D&D, but it won't be here. It will be elsewhere. As for those people, obviously Chris's current subscribers and listeners, they might not want to clogged up with D&D stuff, because it's not what they're here. It's not what they're here for. Probably not what you're here for. But
to be fair, having the Tippy cast on the Tippy Club channel, that kind of splits views as well, because they're primarily painting and a little bit of gaming in there, but primarily painting. So like the viewer base gets split is being split 3 ways for gaming, painting, and podcast.
So anything more than that, you start, nobody wants like a small piece of pie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't please anyone. So like you can't please everyone, and you'll end up not being able to please anyone because people don't want to see content coming up in the feed that they're not interested in. So I think it's better to have separate channel for like, especially where it's something where there's like a story to follow.
Yeah.
If you're following the channel that's just putting that out, it's going to be easier for you to keep track of that. Whereas if it's interspersed with podcast and painting and playing stuff, then you'll get lost in it. The algorithm will penalise you somewhere.
Yeah. But hopefully we will get some...
I'm already not regular. I'm not a regular uploader anyway, so...
But, hopefully there will be some more Half Tilt, because me and Chris love Half Tilt, and
yes, we do.
We want to play more Half Tilt. We want to talk about Half Tilt. I
want to create some characters for Half Tilt.
We will. In fact, I think me and Chris actually just want to joust, like in real life.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, right? Near me, I think it takes place at Bamburgh Castle. They have jousting. There's been jousting events there. It happens during the summer. So I'll have a look at when the next one's happening, and you'll have to come up for that.
100%.
In fact, I'll let everyone in TT Combat know about it, and I'll tell them they've got to come up for it as well.
I'll even bring my own lance and a quad bike because I don't like horses.
I'll steal a horse.
I'll have to use a quad bike or a bicycle because I don't like horses. Imagine me like in a full plate of armour.
I'll use my bike.
A full plate of armour on a pedal bike.
I'll wear my chainmail apron from work, chainmail glove. In fact, I'll take one of the other lads. I'll wear 2, and lance.
That sounds like a weekend.
I'll use my steak and knife for a sword.
That's a weekend. So yeah, but yeah, please do watch out for that. And well, thanks for putting up with us for another episode. Thanks for joining us on the Tippy Cast, and if you're listening on Spotify, be sure to follow us.
And if you listen to us on YouTube, why not drop us a like and subscribe, and weigh in with your thoughts on what we've mentioned, missed, or something for us to look at for the next episode in the comments below.
And it's a goodbye from him.
And it's a goodbye from me.